So good morning all. So continuing with the unit number 1, in today's lecture, we are going to see the functions demonstrated. With the help of code block, I am going to demonstrate how to write the functions and how to call the functions. We have seen thoroughly what are the functions, its definition, how to call it. We have seen thoroughly. In this today's lecture, I am going to demonstrate how to write the function and how to call the functions. Then we are going to see inline functions, friend function, friend class, and static members of the class. Okay, these are the points in today's lecture we are going to cover. At the end, if time permits, we will have a question answer session. So first is function demonstration. I am going to demonstrate how to write the functions in C++ using the code block. So here it is. You have to open the code block and you have to create a new project. I am going to create a new project as a function demo. Choose the language. You are familiar with all these things. Function demo. Click next. And this is the by default compiler. Choose this GNU GCC compiler and click on finish. Okay, this is your project and this is your source file. So this is my source file. So simple, this is our main function. In your code, at least you should have one function, that is the main. So this is our main function and it's the entry point of your program. From this main function, your program gets started executing. The first statement is executed, second statement, and so on. If there are a number of statements, that number of statements will be executed one by one. So I am going to compile this code. So there are 0 errors over here, and I am going to execute. So this is the output of this simple main function, hello world. Okay, that you have already completed. So now I am going to declare one function over here, void display. And in this function, I am going to write a statement inside display function. Inside display. So I have written this function over here, and I am going to now execute, compile the code. There are 0 errors over here, and I am going to execute. Now see what is the output. Here is output is hello world. We get this output because we have not called that display function in our program. So we have written the function display. This is the return type, that is void. That is, this function doesn't return anything. This is the name of the function display, and this is the parenthesis, which is this function doesn't retrieve any parameters, and inside it I have mentioned only one statement inside display function. But we have not called this from the main. So how to call this from the main? So you have to say call this by using the name of the function inside the main. Just say display. And this is the way to call the function. Call the function. This is the simple code wherein we don't have any class inside this code. We have only main function and display function. And this is the way to call the display function. Just compile it again. There are 0 errors and execute it. So now you will get the output as inside display function and hello world. What happens when you call this function? When you call this display function, control goes to the here display at this function. It will execute the number of statement present inside the display, and at the end, closing curly bracket, control comes back to the main and it will go to the next statement. It will bring the hello world. So I will mention over here /n, that is new line, save the code, and again I'm going to execute it. There are 0 errors and this is the output inside display function and hello world. So why this output is inside display function and hello world? Because we have mentioned over here, we have called this display function from here, and then below that there is hello world statement. So that's why we are getting the output as inside display function and hello world. So I will make the changes in the sequence. I'm going to call this display function after the hello world. So save it and again compile it. There are 0 errors and then I'm going to execute. So now see the output. Here output is hello world and then inside display function. Why it is so? Because we have called this display function below the hello world. That's why we are getting output as hello world and then inside display. So this is the output. So you need to take care while calling the functions from your main. As per the sequence present in the main, that sequence is maintained while executing your code. Now this function doesn't return anything. Okay. Now I am going to return something from the display. So I will say integer. So integer, once I say integer over here, that means this display function is returning integer value. And I'm going to mention the return statement, return 10. Return 10. So now I'm going to save it and I'm going to compile it. So there are 0 errors and 0 warnings. Just a minute, I will mention here which return value. And I'm going to compile it and I'm going to execute it. So here it is hello world inside display function which return a value. But how I have called this function is I have just called this function using the display. But whatever value is written by this display, I have not stored in any variable over here. And this is not the standard way to call this display. A particular function which return a value, that function must be called and that value is stored in particular variable. So I'm going to show it how to store that value in a variable. Suppose I'm going to declare one variable over here, integer I, and I is equal to display. So display function will be called, whatever code present in the function will be executed, and at the end it will return a value 10, and that will be returned over here, and that is initialized to variable I. So I'm going to print the value so that you will come to know whether that variable I contains value or not, value of return value of display or not. So here it is saved. I will mention only return value is equal to, and I'm going to mention the name of the variable I. So now I'm going to save it. Once you do any changes, save the program and compile it again so that latest version will be compiled. So there are 0 errors, and now see the output. So this is the output. It will print hello world, then it will display inside display function which return a value, and then it will print return value is equal to 10. So from display we have mentioned return value 10. So that's why here it is return value is equal to 10. So this is the way to get the return value from the function. Now this is the simple code wherein we have two functions. One is main and second one is display. So now I'm going to add the class. I'm going to say class function demo. And inside this class, I'm going to write this display function. Okay. So this is my class function demo. And then inside that I have the function display, and I'm going to write it in public so that it is accessible over inside the main. So now this display function is present in the class function demo. So how to call this display? To call the display, we need to create the object of function demo. So create the object over here, function f1 semicolon, and then how to call the function f1 dot display. Dot operator is used to call the display. So again this value display function returns a value, and that value is again stored in the I variable. So time being I am going to change the value to 100. So small changes. How to call this function is by using the object of the function and then name of the function. Just save it, compile it. There are 0 errors, 0 warnings, and execute. So you will get the same output hello world inside display function which return a value, and you will get the value return value is equal to 100. So this is the way to call the function present in the class. So I will explain another function, same function but which doesn't return any value. So I will mention over here void. I will remove this return. And I'm going to say inside the display function only, which doesn't return any value. /n is for new line. Cursor will go to the next new line. Here it is end of the class. Inside the main, I have created the object of function demo f1, and this is the way to call this display function that we have seen in the class and object lecture. This the object and dot notation is used to call the display. Okay, so I'm going to compile it. So I'm going to remove this also because this doesn't return anything. Compile it. There are 0 errors and 0 warnings, and then execute. So we will get the output hello world inside display function. Inside display function. So this is the way to call the function present in the function demo. Similarly, you can write your return this function inside the class. Similarly, you can write this function outside the class. So how to write? You have to copy it and you have to mention the class name over here, demo, and you have to mention scope resolution operator. This is called as scope resolution operator, and inside this you have to mention the prototype of the display, that is void display. Inside class I will have display function prototype, and outside the class I have written the body of the display function using this scope resolution operator. So how to write the body of the display function outside the class? You have to mention the return type, you have to mention the class name, then scope resolution operator, and then you have to give the name of the function, that is display. So inside display function, one statement which is declared outside so here it is in the main. Rest of the things are same, but you can write the display function outside the class. So save it, compile it, there are 0 errors, and execute it. So once you execute, you will get this output hello world, and inside display function which is declared outside of the class. That means you can declare the function inside the class as well as you can declare it outside the class. If you are having n number of functions, then just mention the function prototype over here and then mention the function body outside the class using the scope resolution operator. Your code will be readable, means there will not be any too much code inside the class. Only function prototypes are present and function definition is present outside the function bodies are present outside the class. So this is the standard way to write the functions outside the class. You can write function outside the class or you can write function inside the class, no problem. Only thing is that if you are having more functions inside the class, then it is a standard notation to write the function body outside the class and mention function prototype inside the class. So this is all about the functions. So what we have seen in this demonstration, we have seen simple function, how to call. There is at least one function, that is main function. Then we have seen how that function will return a value and how we have to store that value into particular variable when that function is called. And we have seen how to write a function inside the class, how to call that function. Also we have seen if function returns a value from which is declared inside the class, how to get the value inside the main in a particular variable. And what we have seen, how to declare function inside the class as well as outside the class using the scope resolution operator. So function is called as method also. It is also called as procedure. It is also called as behavior of the object. Keep in mind. So this is all about function demonstration. Now I am going to continue with the next point, that is inline function. So next concept is inline function. What is inline function? Inline functions are C++ enhancement feature to increase the execution time of a program. So these inline functions are the enhancement features of C++ which help us to increase the execution time of the program. Function can be declared, function can be instructed to compiler to make them inline so that compiler can replace those functions definitions whenever those are being called. So compiler replaces the function of inline functions at compile time instead of referring function definition at runtime. Okay, so what this inline function is, once you make the function as inline, the compiler will add that function code inside the main itself. No need to go to that particular function and call it. Okay, we will see it how that will be happen inside the inline function. So if your function is big in terms of executable instruction, then a compiler can ignore the inline request and treat the function as normal function. One property of inline function is if you are having small number of statements inside the function, make that function as an inline function. If you are adding more statements and you are making that inline, compiler will treat it simply a function, not an inline function, though you have mentioned it inline function. So how to make function inline? To make any function as inline, starts its definition with the keyword inline. Okay, this is the keyword in C++. So this inline keyword will help us to make the function inline. So this is the simple code demonstration. These are the standard two statements we have included, iostream and namespace. Then inside class A, we have this inline function. Inside the public inline integer add. So this is the function which is inline. How to make this function as inline? Just mention inline before the function. That's it. So this is the way to make the function as inline function. So I have mentioned only one statement here inside inline function, and I have closed the class A. What is present in the class A is only one method add, which we have made as an inline method. So inside the main, we have created object of class A as a small variable A, that is the object, and then with the help of this object A dot add, we have called this inline function add. So what actually normally happen if that function is not inline? When you call a function add, control goes to add, and then it will execute all the statement present in the add, and from this end of the function, control comes back to the main and it goes to the next statement. So this is the standard normal behavior of the function when you call a particular function. So what happens when you make the function as an inline function? When you say a dot add, by looking at this keyword inline, compiler will come to know that it's an inline function and there are less number of statements. What happens? Instead of calling that function, compiler will add this whole function inside the main. Okay, and then whatever code present in this will be executed and it will start executing the next statement. So this is the functionality of the inline function. Instead of calling that function, just pick up that function and add it into the main where that function is called, and after adding that into a main, that whatever statements present in the function will be added. Here it is, we have not mentioned any statement, only return 0 and add then closing of the main. So what will be the output of the code? Output of the code is inside inline function. Inside inline function. The output is same if you are not made this inline function, but what happened behind the scene is when you make the function inline, that function will be picked and that is being added into the main from where that function is called. Okay, so this is the way your inline function will be invoked. Why to use inline function? Why we need to have an inline function? So in many places we create the function for small work or functionality. Sometimes we write a function which have very small number of statements, which contains simple and less number of executable instructions. Imagine there calling overhead each time they are being called by the callers. Every time that function will be called and it requires much more overhead to call that particular function. When a normal function call instruction is encountered, what will happen? When a particular function is called, what will happen? We are going to see it step by step. Once you call the function, the program stores the memory address of the instruction immediately following the function call statement. So it will store the memory address of the instructions immediately following the function call statement. Next, what will happen? It will load the function being called into the memory. So that function, whichever you have called, will be loaded into the memory. And it will copy the argument values, whatever present for that particular function. It jumps to memory location of the call function. After copying, it goes to the memory location of the call function. Then it will execute the function codes. So whatever function code is available will be executed. After this, it stores the return value of the function, if is there any return value, and then jumps back to the address of the instruction that was saved just before executing the called function. So these are the steps will happen when you call a particular function. Again, I am repeating. Your program stores the memory address of the instruction. Then it will load the function which is being called. Then it copies argument values. Then it jumps to the memory location of the call function, and then it will execute the function calls and store the return value of the function, and then it will jump back to the address of the instruction that was saved previously before calling the function. So these are the steps are carried out when a particular function is called. So too much runtime overhead. By looking at the statements, you will come to know there are too much overhead when you call a particular function. So to reduce the overhead, we are using the inline function. When you mention a particular function inline, these steps are not carried out. Instead, that function is embedded into the called function. So C++ inline function provides an alternative with the inline keyword. Simply, the compiler replaces the function call statement with the function code itself. This is called as expansion. This process is called as expansion. Then the compiles the entire code. So with the inline functions, the compiler doesn't have to jump to another function location to execute the function and then jump back as a back as the code of the function call function is already available to the calling program. So it reduces the efforts that is taken to call a particular function. So now we are going to see some pros and cons and performance analysis, why we are going to use and when to use inline function. So some of the advantages are it speeds up your program by avoiding function calling overhead. So automatically your program will increase the speed of its execution. It saves overhead of the variable push and pop on the stack when the function calling happens. It saves overhead of return call from the function. Okay, there will not be any return. That function is itself is added into your call function. It increases locality of reference by utilizing instruction cache. Okay, so the local cache is used to perform the operations, so it will increases the locality of references. By making it as inline, you can put a function definition in a header file. That is, it can be included in multiple compilation unit without linking the compiling. So this is again one of the advantage of the inline function. Now we are going to see some of the limitations. It will increase the executable size due to code expansion. So this is one of the limitations. C++ inlining is resolved at compile time. Okay, so that inlining is resolved at compile time, which means if you change the code of the inline function, you would need to recompile all the code using it to make sure it will be updated. As mentioned above, it increases the executable size, which may cause thrashing in memory, more number of page fault, bringing down your program performance. And sometimes not useful, for example, in embedded system where large executable size is not preferred at all due to memory constraints. At that time, you need to don't use this inline functions. So when to use inline function? At which situation you are going to use or make a particular function as an inline function? So function can be made as inline as per programmer's need. Some useful recommendations are use inline function when performance is needed. Okay, make a particular function as inline if that function contains less number of statements to increase the performance of the program. Next, use inline function over macros. If you are declaring macros, make the use of inline functions. Prefer to use inline keyword outside the class with the function definition to hide the implementation details. Mostly write down the body of the inline function outside the class. So next is friend function. So it is one type of special function which access the private and protected members of the class. That's why it is called as friend function. If function is declared as a friend function, then protected and private data member of a class can be accessed using the function. So this friend function is going to access the protected and private members of the class. By using the keyword friend, compiler knows the function is a friend function. So there is keyword in C++ that is friend. That keyword is used to declare the friend function. For accessing the data, the declaration of the friend function should be done inside the body of a class, starting with the keyword friend. So how to declare friend function in C++? So this is your class and class name. Open the class, and this is the way to declare the friend function. You have to mention the friend, this is the keyword, and then data type, function name, and number of arguments, and then semicolon. So this is the syntax of declaring the friend function. And close the class. So the function can be defined anywhere in the program like a normal C++ function. The function definition does not use either a keyword, friend, or scope resolution operator. Okay, it doesn't use any friend, keyword, or scope when you write the body for this function. So what are the characteristics of the friend function? The function is not in the scope of the class to which it has been declared as friend. Next is, it cannot be called using the object as it is not in the scope of that class. So this function you can't call using the object of the class. It can be invoked like a normal function without using the object. It cannot access the member names directly and has to use object name and dot membership operator with the member name. It can be declared either in the private or public part. You can declare it anywhere, either in the public or protected part. So with the help of example, we are going to see how to declare the friend function. This is our simple code which will have the private data member as integer length. Keep in mind, this is the length is private data member and you can't access it outside the class. So in public member, we have mentioned one function that is friend integer print length, which will take one input as a integer number. So this is the way to declare the friend function. So once you declare friend function inside the class, you need to write the body for the friend function. So this is the way to write the body for the friend function. This is our function integer print length. Remember, we have not mentioned over here any scope resolution operator, and we have not mentioned the name of the class also. Just mention symbol, return type, and the name of the function. That is, here it is integer print length, and then it will receive one integer variable, and inside this we have created one variable box b, and then b dot length. Keep in mind this length is private member. We can access this inside the friend function. So b dot length is equal to plus is equal to nothing but we are adding that value is equal to plus I. At the end it will return the value of length b dot length. So this is the way to declare the friend function, and this is the way to write the friend function. It's normal thing. Only thing is that you have to mention over your friend function, and you have to remember what are the functionality or what is the features of the friend function. The rest of the things are same. Smaller change in the syntax. No need to mention scope resolution operator and class name. Only you have to mention the body of the function, that is integer print length, and write down the body. So next is inside the main, how to call that function. Integer b is equal to 100, and we have called this length of the box, and from here itself we have called this function print length b. We have passed the value b 100 to the print length, which will be received over here inside the variable I, and then that variable will be initialized to the length variable, which is of the private member of the class box, and then it will return that value again to the print length. So output of the program is simple. We have just sent this message value 100 to the function print length, and just initialize this private member over here, and then we are getting that value again back to the print length. So you will get the output as length of the box is 100, and this is the way to declare the friend function. So similarly, there are friend classes. It's like a friend function. A class can also be made a friend of another class using the keyword friend. For example, this is our class B, and inside the class A, we have mentioned it as a friend class. This is the way to create the friend class B. And then write the B class over here. Okay, this class B is a friend class of A. So what is the use of this? When a class is made a friend class, all the members functions of that class become friend functions. Automatically, all the member functions becomes the friend functions. In this program, all the members of the class B will be friend functions of class A. All the functions of class B, all the member functions of class B will be friend members of the class A, because we have said here friend class B. So any member function of class B can access private and protected data of class A. So in this, any member of private and protected member of class A is accessible to the class B, because this is the friend function to the class A. But remember, function of class A cannot access the data member of class B. B is friend of A, so B will access all the private and protected member of A, but A can't access the private and protected members of class B. So this is a simple code. We have a class A. There is one statement, integer x is equal to 5, and friend class B. This is our friend class. At the end, we have the closing curly bracket. Okay, this class is after this friend class. This is not the part of the code. It is a part of the comment. So we have declared here one variable integer x is equal to 5, and class B is a friend class of A. So inside class B, we have mentioned only one display function, which will receive the object of variable A, object of class A. And here it is, we have called this private member of X by using A dot X. And at the end, close of the class B. So inside main, we have created two objects. A and B's object we have created, and we have called B.display, and we have just passed the object A to the display, which is received over here, and we are going to access the value of X by using A.X. So what will be the output of this code is simply it will give the output value of X is 5. Value of X is 5. So this is the way your friend class will work. It is similar to your function. So what we have seen here, we have seen friend function as well as friend